Now, talent shows are all the rage nowadays. You get some decent acts on them, but now and again they unearth a genuine talent. Cast your mind back to one Saturday night in March 2012, when my next guest blew the Britain's Got Talent judges and the TV audience of millions away. Now, that was the first time most of us had heard of Jonathan Antoine, and together with his singing partner, Charlotte Giaconelli, he finished as the runner-up to Ashley Butler and her dancing dog, Pudsey. Pudsey may have took first prize, but Jonathan's career has put the dancing dog well into the shade. Since then, he's enjoyed a #1 album as a solo artist, he's toured extensively, and he's returning to the Viva Show Bar in Blackpool this coming Friday to show off his incredible voice. It's a pleasure to welcome Jonathan Antoine to Gilly & Friends in the afternoon. He's joining us live from our Essex studio this afternoon. Tell you what, you were doing a fair rendition of Our House there, Jonathan, singing away in the studio this afternoon.
Yeah, well, it's a classic song. I love it.
I must say,
thank you for having me on. I just want to say that, and hello to everyone.
Well, I was just going to say, you must welcome all the Fantwans across the world who are listening this afternoon, Jonathan. They're all well and truly tuned in. What's it like to have such a fan base?
Well, it might not be, the biggest group of people. I might not have, millions upon millions of people, but the people that I do have, they are very genuine, very sweet, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Excellent.
Honestly.
What's it like listening back to that first Britain's Got Talent audition? I mean, it's probably a silly question, this, Jonathan, but are you glad that you entered the programme?
I'm certainly glad I entered it, but I feel like that must have been the first time in at least 2 or 3 years that I've heard that. I do try and avoid listening to it.
Sorry about that.
No, don't worry. But it is interesting to look back on that and see just how much I've progressed from there, because that is a very affected voice. That's not like it. Yeah, it's so weird to me that I sounded so different just a handful of years ago.
Just take us back to the beginning. When did you start singing? When did you realise that, you had an incredible voice inside you?
I feel like I've just been, I've been singing since I could speak, since I could form words. I would sing along to the lyrics of songs. I feel like as a little chitlin of 3 or 4, I was more a dancer, which thankfully that fell by the wayside pretty quickly. But I guess I'm still trying to realise it, trying to realise that there's something extra special. I get messages every day from people who are talking about, how there's something special about what I do, and it kind of baffles me in a way, because to me I'm just an ordinary, kid basically. I'm 22, just doing what he loves. And the fact that people outpour to me and say these heartfelt things, I couldn't trade it for the entire world.
Are you from a musical background, Jonathan?
Only in that I've loved music forever, but no, my parents aren't particularly musical. My dad was in choir when he was in school, but apart from that, my sister, she sings in the car and stuff, and she's not bad. If she had practiced more maybe practiced with me, we could have done something
be a double
great.
act. Does she not fancy getting on stage with you sometimes?
Oh, I don't think so.
Is it true that you were fairly shy, I think, as a young lad? How did you get past that in order to sing for people? I mean, obviously you've got to put that behind you if you're getting on stage to perform. Do you still have a little bit of shyness about you these days?
I suppose it's all about the different degrees of your personality. At that time, that degree of shyness, that degree of, I suppose, anxiety, fear of being judged in a way, that was a big slice of the pie, you could say. I don't think any aspect of your personality can evaporate entirely, but I do think that they can shrink and be sent to the background, and that's very much where I'm at, I guess.
Do you still get a little bit nervous before performing? Do you have any rituals you go through?
I actually get horrifically nervous. It's hard to explain. It's just a combination of the adrenaline and all kinds of things going on. I don't have any particular rituals other than to sit in front of a fan and let cold air blow on my face,
Yeah.
So I don't sweat all the stage makeup off.
Right, well, we hope there's a fan turning in our studio in Essex for you this afternoon. Stand by, don't go away, we'll come back, we'll chat a little bit more after the travel news this afternoon. It's 3:15. Teeny and New Shoes on BBC Radio Lancashire. With me in our Essex studio this afternoon. As I say, I hope that fan's keeping you warm there in the Essex studio, Jonathan. We've certainly got lots of your fans tuned in this afternoon, and they really are all over the place. Sue has tweeted. She's listening in sunny Torquay. I bet it's nice in Torquay this afternoon. Afternoon to Jane Hyatt as well. To Heidi. She's a regular fan, Antoine, isn't she?
Yeah.
Heidi.
No. So far, all the names are.
To
I know them all.
Yeah. Carol Brown as well. Yeah. To Sue Tiffin. In fact, we've made one lady cry this afternoon already.
Goodness.
My goodness, what have we done?
Already?
I tell you what, a lot of fans listening in America, you've not cracked the American market yet, have you?
No, it's an incredibly tough thing to really arrange. With, working visas being as they are, it's necessary to obtain, sponsorships in order to actually work over there. And for me to be able to fully embrace America and actually be able to go on a tour, go through the states, make sure that I'm not missing anyone. That requires a lot of money, a lot of work, and a lot of request for me to be there. So, if my American fans really, really desperately want me there...
It's crowdfunding these days, they call it, don't they?
Yeah, well, if they desperately want me there, just contact your local theatres, talk to people, see if they need a tenor, because I'm available.
Also, as well, is that one of your ambitions to crack America, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, as I say, it's incredibly tough for... particularly, I suppose, particularly from Britain, because of the way it all works.
Well, hey, one day, you never know. It's it's crowdfunding a route. A lot of artists these days go down that route, don't they?
They certainly do, and I think that's a whole issue with the way the music industry works and the way that albums are, developed and created. It's an issue with how the price of the commodity of music has escalated so far that whilst amateur producers can create something in their bedroom, someone like me, who essentially needs a full orchestra because simulated orchestras are terrible, it's kind of impossible on my own.
And that does cost a lot of money, doesn't it? Let's be honest,
It certainly does.
To hire a full orchestra.
And, it's all about, you've got to pay the orchestra per hour, of course, and it's, 40-odd people, and you pay for the studio space, you pay for anything that's done to the recording by the producers, you pay for the producers, you pay... It's a laborious process, but, getting an album out of it is worth it.
And the album "Believe," which is your current album, of course,
indeed.
which has done well in the charts, hasn't it, for you?
Yeah, it's done decently, and I'm really pleased, particularly as this is the first independent release, essentially, away from Sony Psycho Productions.
And did I read that it's released on vinyl as well now?
is about to be.
Wow,
This is
you
quite
must be
funny.
excited with that.
I am so excited. For a few years back, I started collecting vinyl. I have a few that I really like, but it's taken a very long time to get this vinyl out because pressing these things and getting everything right graphically is also a chore. But I'm just so excited, and it in fact comes out on the very same day as Viva Blackpool. It will be July 14th.
Wow. That's and I think what will happen, because reading social media and your many fans who've already got a copy of Believe on CD will also be getting the vinyl copy as well. Won't
That would be incredible.
Let's hear a track from Believe. You said I could choose, didn't you, this afternoon?
I certainly did.
So let's have this one. Bring Him Home on BBC Radio Lancashire. Album Believe, and as Jonathan was saying, the album out again on Friday, this time on vinyl for all the vinyl collectors amongst us, Jonathan.
Yes, indeed, including myself. I'm going to be keeping a copy, maybe save it for forever. Well, that's
a lot of people, of course, with the vinyl, you know, like the covers, they frame the covers, don't they?
Yeah, and people may frame like the entire thing as a like a set piece, and knowing that I'm just a little part of someone's home, or even being played on anything, it's really gratifying. It's great. You feel like people really like you.
And they certainly do. How important has social media been to you? I know we were talking about a lot of tweeting from the fans, but for anybody in the music business these days, it does play an important part, doesn't it?
Yeah, there are certain levels that people can be at which they don't really need social media. But for a burgeoning artist who's trying to make their way in the world and hasn't really found the exact groove, they're on the edge of the groove. It is one of the most vital pieces of equipment that you can have in your arsenal. It's the best way to reach people. As much as Facebook and Twitter do throttle the amount of people that see your posts, which is annoying, it's still an incredibly effective way to reach people from all over the world in one fell swoop. It's incredible, and it allows you again to speak to people around the world. 20 odd years ago, that was still kind of crazy.
It's quite interesting how instant it is, because we mentioned there about cracking the American market, and already a tweet says that your fans in the USA are working on it. So there's nothing more instant than that, is there?
There you go. Beautiful.
We last chatted before Christmas. We did a Christmas special, and I know you were looking forward to doing a tour, a sort of a mini tour with Catherine Jenkins. How did that go? Oh,
that was fantastic. I mean, it feels like it was 10, 12 years ago now, but it was only a few months ago that it, wow, it was fantastic. Catherine is incredible, and yeah, it's just a privilege to be able to work with people, with good people. And in fact, speaking of Christmas, this is a complete tangent. On December 1st, I in fact have a little special happening in Lytham.
Really?
I do, yeah. It's an introduction to the holiday spirit with Jonathan Antoine.
Wow. Is that at the Lowther in Lytham?
It is, yeah.
Wow.
And
1st of December.
It's going to be, it's going to be a very cheery, and admittedly, my concerts aren't the most, serious thing. I like to have fun with people, and I don't want people to, just sit there and stony-faced watching some classical or whatever.
I mean, alongside your success, you did have a share of troubling times, didn't you?
Yeah. You
struggled with depression for a while, and I know you don't mind talking about this.
No, of course not.
What kind of things triggered that, do you think?
There are a lot of things. It's less of a trigger and more of a slow incline, I would say. Throughout any person's life, they experience various hardships, be they small or incredible, vast hardships that are almost impossible to get through. I had some medium-sized hardships that I thought were the biggest hardships of all time. And it was that perception, I suppose, that really drove me a lot deeper into my own mind. Which, it's a spiral. It's after the incline, it's it goes straight up. It's a scary thing, but after this incline, after going straight up, there is always a tipping point, and there always will be. And it's, people at that very highest point, before they're over the tipping point, there are horrible things that they do to themselves, things that have horrible consequences on their family, their friends, everyone. But there is a tipping point always. And as soon as you reach that, you realise that all of this build-up was kind of in your head.
Thankfully, you're on the other side of that. You're in a great place now. What would you say to anyone listening who might be going through similar hard times? I mean, it can be a lonely place, can't it?
It is an incredibly lonely place. And even if you're surrounded by your friends and family, it's still a lonely place. But again, like I said, there's a tipping point for everyone, and everyone can get through tough times. There's no magical thing in your brain that says that you can't. Depression is essentially a chemical reaction, and that chemical reaction, slowly fades out over time, and it's weird. It's a transitive state, and just always remember that it is a transitive state as opposed to normality. Depression is something that you feel temporarily. But my one thing that I do want to say is it's tough to live by the words of another person, and living by the words of another will grant you certain ease in life and will show you a way forward. But you can't listen to my words and have an instant answer, So what I guess I'm saying, live by your own words.
We'll chat a little bit more about Viva on Friday, but I've had a message in from Glenys, who's one of your biggest fans. Evidently, the tickets are on sale now for the Lowther Pavilion, and she's been first in the queue, I believe.
Amazing.
She's got her ticket already. That seems to be another sellout to me, Jonathan. To be honest,
that would be incredible.
We'll come back.
Cross fingers.
We'll chat a little bit more after Spandau Ballet. Guest until 4 o'clock is Jonathan Antoine. He's in our BBC Essex studio in Chelmsford this afternoon. Great British Talking Point. Jonathan, what's the weather like in Essex today then?
It's okay. It's a mildly white sky. Nothing particularly interesting going on. Sun is somewhere hidden. It's the most typical English sky you could possibly have.
Looking at the weather forecast, we're in for quite a warm weekend, particularly Friday. It should be a nice day when you arrive in Blackpool.
Yes, I've got everything crossed.
Yeah. I mean, you've played the Viva before, as I say, but have you ever visited Blackpool as a tourist in the past?
No,
with your family or anything?
I've not actually. Essentially, the only place that I would visit as a young child was we would go out of country, like to Disney and stuff. But we would go up to my nan's in Cleethorpes and
Cleethorpes by the sea, of course.
Yes, indeed. The slight similarities, but Blackpool's just a little bit different.
A lot of tweets, as I say. In some parts of the world, it's 10 o'clock in the morning and people are tuned into you, listening in Australia, America, listening in Norway, Torquay, as we've mentioned, just about all over. I mean, you have got a huge fan base, haven't you?
Well,
I know we touched on this a little earlier.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's sprawling. Well, actually, reverse that. I wouldn't say it's huge, but it is sprawling. Like, there are people in everywhere. It seems like every day I get a message that has a new country in it. Like, people in South America, every different part of South America, tweeting and Facebook messaging me. It's just so cool.
And obviously, do you try and reply to your fans?
I try my very hardest.
Yeah.
It does get tough, and I didn't answer a lot at the very beginning because the sheer volume that was coming in at that time was impossible. No single person could possibly deal with that. But nowadays it's more focused and a little bit less insane. So it's easier to reply to as many people as I possibly can.
Viva, as I say, on Friday, which is a great little cabaret bar in Blackpool. A lot of investment by Lee and Martin there at Viva. Then you're off to Rochester, I think, aren't you, on Saturday?
I certainly am, performing essentially the proms with at Rochester rather.
Yeah. What's for the future then? What's coming up in the coming weeks? We know you're back at the Lowther in December, but what between now and then? Busy?
It really depends. I have some projects that I'm working on. I've been personally, personal, stuff good for my soul kind of stuff. I've been writing music really recently. That yesterday I sort of wrote something for the first time in a long while, and I've been focusing a lot on my passions, stuff outside of singing that I enjoy, but there are some very interesting musical things coming up as well.
That you can't mention, you're going to say, aren't you?
It's less that I can't mention them, more that I won't.
You won't? Right. Well, listen, when you can, we need you back on here, okay, to tell us, to reveal all. Are you enjoying the writing?
I really am. I've always had, a passion for writing words in general, writing stories. I loved, literature as a little chitlin, but now it's very different. This is about to get weird. I run Dungeons and Dragons for a lot of my friends. The ye old board game. It's because essentially it's burgeoned in popularity. It's kind of a new collaborative way of storytelling, and that has really helped me develop not only kind of more of a narrative structure throughout what I am now writing, but also it's improved my verbosity, you could say, and expanded my dialogue in general.
When you're writing music, then do you have a favourite time, night, day? Do you have to lock yourself away in a room to write? When do your creative juices flow then?
Oh, it's whenever they want to, essentially. I usually I'm in bed at ridiculous o'clock, and a good idea comes to me, and well, if I can be genuinely bothered, I have a really nice little space in my garden, which has a recording setup, and so I'll go take my guitar and noodle that little thing that I thought of into that. Or if I'm especially lazy, I will just make a little audio note into my phone.
We'll chat a bit more, and we'll play another track from Believe as well between now and 4 o'clock. 3:45 now. Let's do this.
The county's...
Well, a friend on the afternoon programme at the moment is Jonathan Antoine. He's in our studio in Chelmsford in Essex.
Hello.
I tell you what, this hour's gone quick, hasn't it? Where has it
really
gone?
Has.
I
it's
tell
crazy.
you, where has it gone? Loads of messages, loads of tweets. Viva on Friday, of course. Lots of Fantwans converging on Blackpool on Friday. I'll just give a quick mention, actually. I'm be doing my programme on Friday from the Winter Gardens, not too far from Viva. Any Fantwans want to nip in and say hello? Be lovely to see you on Friday afternoon. And at the Viva Show Bar, have you got the set list together yet?
I certainly do. I have everything prepared, and
well, the old favourites, will they be there? Do you get a chance to try out some new stuff?
I do. I have, I've got some old classics, some modern stuff that I've already done, and then a mixture of both that no one has yet heard.
And that is the surprise element,
It
presumably.
certainly is. You know, I'll say all of this, but I'm not, you know, not saying anything more.
I must say, because it's almost time to finish, but let's say hello to Sonia, music fan. Now, she is going to be married to a new Tomorrow. This is a collaboration that you did, isn't it, with the producer of the album?
It is, yeah, and that's remarkable. I wrote a fair portion of the lyrics for the song, and yeah, that's incredible.
And that's on Believe. How
That
did you
is.
choose the tracks to go on the album? Was that difficult?
No, actually, it wasn't.
Was it easy?
It was incredibly easy. We, me and Chris Broom, and I believe my mother and sister were there.
Right.
Got to take them everywhere, because.
Yeah. So you're saying they influenced?
Well, I mean,
You can be honest, Jonathan.
they
you can
have
tell
good
me.
taste. They have good taste, is the thing. See, if it were just me, I would be putting like stuff that no one has heard of from the last like 2 years, and it would be a disaster. But we went and met with Chris, and essentially within that meeting we had the whole track list essentially done, and it just happened like that, like fast as lightning.
Excellent. I'll tell you what, we should finish with a new Tomorrow.
I think
I'll
so.
let you
On that note.
dedicate this to Sonia and all the Fantwans. Go on, a message for the Fantwans, Jonathan.
Well, my message is,
Put you on the spot now.
a little bit. No, for real though, my message is that remember that you're all loved, and there is love in everyone's hearts. And again, you know, don't live by my words. Go out there and be you, and live, and seize everything. Take control. Live your life now. And Sonia, wow, wow, amazing. Thank you.